Why did I become a PE? I started in design. The engineer at the time asked me, did I know what a PE was? Did I have a PE? I said no and no. He said, if you get one, you'll get paid more money. I said, I'll get it.
There are two main reasons I wanted to become a professional engineer. The most obvious reason was for opportunities in career growth. Basically, I wouldn't be in the position I am today had I not obtained my licensure. However, the most important reason why I even became an engineer and wanted to become a professional engineer in the first place was for personal achievement.
Well, I've had a knack for math from a young age and enjoyed science from highly effective teachers in high school. I actually made my future a matter of prayer and in the 10th grade, and it's pretty remarkable the set of events that occurred that landed me a part-time job at a small woman-owned business that reached out to my high school. When I was there, one of the engineers took an interest in my future, in that he became a mentor to me after recognizing my gifts.
And I originally started out at University of Illinois as a structural engineer. And I always thought that engineers worked in the field. And when I found out that structural engineers mostly worked in offices, I had done a lot of architecture classes in high school, thought that's what I wanted to do. Then when I wound up working as a summer intern for the Illinois DOT, and I worked out in the field in construction, I realized that was really what I was excited to do. So I switched my major, went back to school, switched my major to construction management, and graduated with that, but it was a civil engineering degree. And so 5 years later, took the PE, and I've been a professional construction engineer pretty much since that time. So
I took the PE a long time ago, 23 years ago, so I don't remember too much about how I celebrated or how I found out, but I do remember the studying. I read somewhere that the average successful candidate studies for about 300 hours, so that's what I shot for. What that looks like is I studied for about 3 months, about 100 hours a month, so that's 25 hours a week. It was pretty significant, and I was glad when it was over, but I definitely didn't want to have to do it twice.
I studied a fair bit, more for the EIT because the units. I did everything in metric in college. A lot of it was in English units. That was a pain. Got through it.
I took the PE back when everybody took it in their home state, and I was taking it in Miami. But the year I took it, the normal venue out by the airport must have been under renovation, so they had us taking it in a venue downtown in the Hyatt. And even though I hadn't slept much the night before, I went over there bound and determined to take care of business, and my adrenaline was going and everything. But I found just waiting for the exam to start to be the hardest part of the day.
Exam day, disaster. I had to drive to Miami, got lost on the way to Miami, stopped for directions at a gas station. They only spoke Spanish. We didn't speak any Spanish. Then tried to buy a map. It was hard just buying the map. Then had to find out where we were. Got there eventually.
And once I was taking the exam, it was a little bit crazy because there was a sound check for a concert or something in the auditorium above the testing venue. And it didn't bother me. I barely noticed. I didn't have an appetite. I wasn't feeling anything. I was just like a soldier, bound and determined to finish the exam. And it was crazy. The walls were shaking, I'm told, because of the sound, and they were distributing earplugs, but I was just there to take care of business, and thankfully I passed the exam.
Getting my license wasn't easy for me. I took a month off work on my third attempt and made studying a full-time job. Thankfully, I passed.
We waited 4 long months to get our results by the U.S. mail. The day that my results arrived, I ran to the mailbox, reached in, and found a thin envelope. That was good because a thick envelope contained the paperwork to retake the exam. Anyway, I tore open that skinny envelope and read the words, "Congratulations, you passed." And I jumped for joy with my hands in the air. That's when I noticed my neighbor watching me. I looked him in the eye and offered my best explanation. Ed McMahon says I may have just won $1 million from Publishers Clearinghouse.
I actually found out I was mowing my lawn in Sarasota, Florida, and opened the mailbox, and a friend of mine was actually helping me. and knew that I had taken the exam, and I jumped about 6 feet in the air, and he asked what happened. So I showed him the envelope that I'd passed, and I'd received a passing score. So that night, it was on a weekend, on a Saturday, I think I got the notice. So I went to the Gator Club bar in Sarasota, and I'm a Scotch aficionado for a long time. So I went and I bought a glass of 50-year-old Scotch, and I tried it and drank it. It's probably the best Scotch I've ever had in my life, but it was not inexpensive, but it was very much worth it. And I figured since I'd become licensed at that point, then I could afford it. So that was a fun night.
How did I find out I passed? Up on the roof of Cleo Marsh's house, helping him fix his roof. My wife Maria called, told me I passed the exam. How did I celebrate? Oh, a lot of beer.
I have always felt that having a PE license requires an engineer to be held more accountable. They must be moral and ethical and really just always do what is right. These attributes line up with the type of person that I have always been, and therefore it was very important to me to obtain a title and a licensure that lined up with my own personal value system.
I'm very appreciative that I am in this rewarding industry of transportation. When I got my license, it opened the door for me to become a project manager, and I get to work with awesome people and awesome projects that makes a difference in our society. So I truly consider it a blessing to be part of it. Thanks.
The type of projects I've been able to work on have been amazing. I've seen a lot of different work. Couldn't have done it without being a PE.
My favorite thing about being a professional engineer is the impact that PEs make every day on the lives of citizens. I get a great deal of pleasure of seeing projects that I've worked on throughout the state of Florida come to fruition and improve traffic and make lives better.